Mentioned relationships specifically, and I wanted to explore that a little more. How is, in the broadest possible terms, that haphazard approach of AI introduction, how is that impacting relationships? How is this sort of mainstream consumer AI technology impacting young people right now when it comes to their relationship choices?
We are, as with many, very concerned about. I mean, fundamentally, emotion. Young people and adults, frankly, forming relationships or feeling they are forming relationships with chatbots, um, and just how swiftly this can happen, both with the active AI companion bots, which are marketed as providing friendship or often sexual relationship, and many of those are sitting on top of models which have questionable safeguards. Um, but also with the more closed models, your open AI, ChatGPT or Gemini, the evidence seems to indicate that people are also forming relationships with these more functional models as well. There was a study on looking at a Reddit subthread of my AI girlfriend, which found that of those people who had AI girlfriends, and there were many, I can't remember what the stats were, but it was the majority, maybe 60, 70% hadn't gone looking for AI girlfriends or boyfriends. They'd been chatting to ChatGPT and just sort of, got a bit heated, basically. Now, some of this is to do with the earlier, GPT-4, which, was much more sycophantic and much more open to opening into romantic relationships. But the risks are very much there. And so I suppose the concern with schools is if young people are being presented with chatbot interfaces as part of their educational experiences, and these are normalized, and that sense that these probabilistic automation systems are something that we use in day-to-day life, it's only going to be natural for them to continue those conversations, possibly look for AI chatbots that are more open to emotional attachment and engagement and potentially sexual chat as well. Um, so that's a real concern, and I think it's the the real challenge that we face is that I think it's incredibly hard not to feel like you are in dialogue with something real when you're dealing with these chatbots, because we are, as humans, we are sort of primed to anthropomorphize. When I use one of the chatbots, I'm relatively well informed about what large language models are and that I'm dealing with a probabilistic automation system. Prefer to use that kind of language. You're dealing with a conversation simulator. But there have certainly been times when I've been chatting where I've felt the presence of something, where I felt I am in dialogue with something, that there is something weighing its words and communicating with me, despite the fact that I'm sort of hardwired and fairly opposed to the very idea of this. So, how do we effectively build resilience to our instinctive need and, well, not need, our instinctive urge to anthropomorphize? Because the studies find that children as young as 12 months old, when they're shown things like a circle and another circle moving in the same direction, they will assume that the one circle is following the other. And if it does something else, they will be surprised by that. So they're already imputing intention and agency to non-human things. Again, pre-verbal children associate being alive with language, with being able to communicate, even if they themselves can't actively use language. So we're hardwired to think that things in the world are conscious. So how do we support young people when dealing with fundamentally really sophisticated language machines to not do that?